We think that we have a good program. For those of you perhaps in the back of the room, this meeting was originally scheduled to discuss the recommended Clubhouse repurposing project that the Board of Directors is going to be asking you in unanimity to support when you vote on November 8th through your delegates. So we're going to stay with that plan and start off with discussing the Clubhouse repurposing program. Now, several of us have been invited to your district parties, and basically, as I told you then, you've seen this presentation. I said there'd be pictures, and that's what we have up front here, but for the most part, it's going to be the same presentation. At the conclusion of that presentation, we're going to entertain questions about the Clubhouse repurposing project only. And then we're going to talk about all the posts that have been on Nextdoor Heritage Eagle Bend. We're going to talk about the most concerning posts, and then we're going to talk about the other posts, and then we're going to open up for questions to that issue. Then we're going to entertain questions from you about the post on Heritage or Nextdoor Heritage Eagle Bend. So again, if during the program, if you want to ask a question, raise your hand and we will collect the cards. We'll give you a 3x5 and a pencil to write out your question. The questions are being retrieved by members of our Legal and Compliance Committee. They are taken to the back of the room, and a member of that committee will go through them, only looking for redundancy. We don't want to keep you here all night answering the same question 9 times. But the board will answer any question that is sent up here. And we're not the ones making that call. So write the questions out that you want the answers to, and we'll do our best to answer them. So that's how we're going to proceed. That being said, I need to ask you this. We've got roughly 500 people in this room. The microphones are going to be very important to capture the questions because this presentation is being filmed by Jeff Lampert, our marketing director, and it's going to be on the web, we hope tomorrow, because if we've got 500 people here, that means we've got 2,000 people who aren't here. And so they need to hear your questions. We don't want to get into a shouting match. Let's keep this thing the mature and professional that this community is known for. And we will have a productive meeting this evening. So let's get started. So, in a nutshell, why are we doing this? We start every one of our regular meetings with the vision and mission statement. And I know you've all seen them, and I think you can read them here this evening. But the operative words are this. In the mission statement, it says that we are to preserve and enhance the value of our community by operating and maintaining our common elements and offering services to the standards to support that vision. Each of these presentations that I've given, I've started off with 2 questions. I've said, how many of you in the room have done some kind of upgrade to your home? Granite, carpet, windows, or whatever. And universally the hands go up. My second question is, did you do it for one or both of the following reasons? 1, so that you'd have a nicer home to live in, or 2, to enhance the value of your property. And again, the hands have universally gone up. And that's exactly the driver of why we're doing what we're doing. So this clubhouse was built in 2001. Now for those of you that were here in 2008, Dell is still living here. And Dell and Ron Schiller put together an incredible study. It was very well received and presented to the community. It was expansive in nature. The building was expanded to the To the east, to the west, there was a second deck put on, etc., etc. It was a wonderful study. Then in 2013, we did Vision 2020. Now the underlying message of Vision 2020 was, where do we want to be in 2020? It's only 2017, but a lot of people got an expectation that we were going to be somewhere that today they perceive that we're not. And then lastly, in early January, we sent out a request online and asked anybody that had a suggestion on how to improve this clubhouse to send those suggestions in. And we captured those. But the three things that they had in common in Dell's study, in Vision 2020, and in the 2017 responses that you gave us were that the wellness area, to include the locker rooms and indoor swimming pool, are inadequate. That we don't have enough availability for meeting rooms when we need to have our group in a reasonable time that works for our schedule. And then lastly, for improvements in the Eagle's Nest and the Eagle's Nest bar. In very simple terms, what you told us is, it's not always the best environment to have the bar activities in with the dining activities, and can you do anything to improve upon that? Those are the three messages. So, in April, we engaged a firm called Marsh & Associates that's out of Greenwood Village, but does work worldwide. And Marsh & Associates' sweet spot is club development or design, club design and club remodeling and repurposing. We put very little restrictions on them. We said, you're the experts. We need for you to come in, study this building, and tell us what you would see as potential improvements to it. You only have one thing that you can't do, and that is you can't go beyond the foundation line, and that was strictly an economic decision. Because once you start going beyond, there's people in here that knows a heck of a lot more about this than I do, but I'm told that once you go beyond the foundation line, the costs escalate exponentially. So you can't go beyond that. Then what we did is take the information that we had from those three previous studies, and we formed 6 focus groups of 10 people. Now I've been told that that is nowhere near representative of the community. I'm not a pollster, but people that are in that business tell me, wait a minute, it is. It's a representative number of what the sentiment of the community is. Because what we did is, nobody picked their brother-in-law to be on there, and we got input from several different sources, and then we looked for people that actually use the billiards room, if we were going to talk about the billiards room, or actually partook in the Eagle's Nest, either from the bar activities or the dining activities or both, or people that actually work out in the wellness center downstairs, and those things. So we tried to have a good forum for us to gain their thoughts. Out of the 67 thoughts that were submitted to us through that process, 22 of those have been implemented in our final recommendation. I say that because what is so important for you to try to understand is that we've done everything that we can to hear your voice, not to say this is what we're thinking or this is what Marsh is thinking. So we had that, and then we began to put it together as to what you're going to see this evening. The last thing is this, and that's the enhancement of our community. If you can vision what we see as the image in 2017 of Heritage Eagle Bend Golf Club, take a look at the vestibule, take a look at the pickleball and tennis courts, and take a look at the new bocce courts. I believe the feedback that I get is that all 3 of those are world class, and that they enhance the image that you have in the community that you chose to buy and live in. So that's where we're trying to get to. Now, here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to take you on a virtual tour of this building. Now these boards that are up here, I know you can't see it, and you're probably not going to be able to see the replication of them on the PowerPoint here in just a minute. But I'm going to take you on a tour of that. These boards are going to be up from now until November 8th in the lobby for you to come up and look at and understand what we're trying to do. So let's get started. We're going to walk in through the vestibule, and we're going to come into the main lobby. And the first thing that we're going to see is that the grand staircase is gone. It's been filled in. It's created what we call a great room. It's going to have loungers, it's going to have couches, and it's going to have easy chairs in it, and it's going to have, over on this side, right here, during the mornings, we're going to have a staffed coffee bar, a mini Starbucks, if you will, and then later in the afternoon, we're going to convert that into a wine bar where we can sit in this great room and have a glass of wine or a cup of coffee with our friends, or read the Wall Street Journal, or read our tablets, or whatever we want to do. The back wall, which has that incredible view, is now a glass wall. And it's got a door in it to where we can go outside, and we can be under a covered terrace that is connected to the patio that's coming off of the Eagle's Nest. And we're going to be able to sit out there on nice Colorado days with our friends and enjoy the ambiance of that terrace. There's going to be a fireplace over here, and it's going to be, it gives us a lot of capability downstairs that we'll get to in just a minute. So now let's come out of the great room, let's come down the hall, and let's go into what is currently the library. There's still going to be books on both of the far walls, but that room has now been converted into a meeting room. One of the fastest growing amenities out here are our Cal classes. They've maxed out, I'm told, by Cal leadership for two reasons. One is the availability of space, and secondarily is the availability of instructors. I'm also told that if the two can come together, that they feel that there's more potential for that, to continue to grow the Cal amenity that have been embraced by so many of us. It also gives us opportunities to market some of these meeting rooms. For example, the State Farm agents meet over here on a quarterly basis on a revenue. The Cherry Creek School District uses this a lot for their teachers to come on teacher work days, etc. So that is now primarily a meeting room. We're going to create a storage area off of the library between it and the billiards room. As we go into the billiards room, the tables are gone. That's now a second meeting room that we don't have now. That's 610 square feet of additional meeting room space. As you can see, or let me draw your attention, that line right there is an open wall so that we can go connect the Wyndham room and the billiard room together. When we do that, we get 1,250 additional square feet. To put that in perspective, the Humboldt room is 1,000 square feet. So we now have a larger meeting room. And for those days, for example, when we have to displace the church out of here and have a bigger meeting room, I'm told that it gets very tight for them. Don't know that that will offer that solution, but it is a solution for bigger groups. So now, let's come across to the craft room. There's really not much change in the craft room with the exception that we're going to have a new floor in there so that we can continue to have some exercise classes in there, and most particularly we can have our blood drives in there. But if you look down in this corner, we're proposing that there will be a unisex bathroom in that location. For any of those that have had to make that long hike from Wyndham up to here, or from Bocce up to here, I think that that's going to be a very nice addition to the clubhouse. I see several smiles, so I must not be the only one. So, let's come back now to the main lobby. And as you can see, the welcome desk area has been enhanced. We're asking more and more services out of the welcome desk. We're asking for more online availability for signing up for classes, signing up for events here in the clubhouse, etc. And believe it or not, the biggest surprise to me about the existing welcome desk, having been built in 2001, are the number of outlets at that welcome desk. They just didn't envision the need for the power that we draw today. So then we come over to here, and that's where we have moved the staircase to. Now there's been some concerns about whether or not that will be structurally feasible. We've had initial review by structural engineers. There's more to be done there, but they tell us that that is not a concern to them at all. It's not a concern to the architect, but more importantly, it's not a concern to a structural engineer. So now, let's go downstairs. As we come down the staircase, let's go into the wellness area. One of the biggest problems and concerns that we hear about regularly are the size and the amenities in the men's and women's locker room. So what we have done is we have expanded out into the hallway that runs toward the swimming pool, and we've greatly enhanced the locker rooms for both the men's and women's. Now, we started down this path. This was really one of the tipping points for us. We started down this path of getting people come in here and take a look at those without doing any of the rest of this, because it's already been in the reserve budget. You'll see that when Bob tells you about the numbers. But when we started down there, what we really discovered very quickly is all we were doing was putting lipstick on a pig. They were still going to be that size, and they were still going to be, it's just in a matter of time, they were going to be as inadequate as they are today. So now we have the bigger locker rooms. When we come into the indoor swimming pool area, the first thing that you'll see here are 2 more unisex bathrooms, so that we have additional bathrooms on top of what we have in the locker rooms. Next to that, right here, will be 3 rinse showers for those people that are going in the pool, won't have to come into the locker room to do the rinse before they go in or come out of the swimming pool. That'll now be in the indoor swimming pool area. Lastly, in the indoor swimming pool area is a bank of cubbies. Another thing that we've heard, in addition to the inadequacy of the locker rooms, are the inadequacy of the lockers. And so just like we have in the wellness area, we have cubbies now, and we have that's very common. It's our sense that you will feel secure enough to have your stuff stored there if you're in that room and can see it. Paint the ceiling white and some of those kinds of things. But those are the things that we've changed. So now, let's come back out and go in to the fitness center. The current fitness center is 1,000 square feet, okay? But now, because we have this closed out here where the grand staircase is, we can expand this wall out, and it becomes a mirror wall. And if you look out toward the swimming pool tonight, if you went down there, you would see that that area has an overhang on it now. This isn't a new 540 square feet off of the great room. This is a covered area that's already there. So if we take that wall out too, when we finish it up, what we have is now a gym that has 1,810 square feet as opposed to the 1,000. It's not double, but it's significantly larger. And of course, part of this will be all new equipment and all of that. But what I'm talking to you about tonight is just the structure. So let's come out of the gym. Let's go back. Here's our stairs. Let's go over here. And now we have a secured room with 2 of our 3 pool tables or billiards tables in there. So we didn't lose that function. We just moved it from up here to down to the basement. As we come out of the pool room and come into this lobby area, over here is a bank of the computer workstations. One of the things that's going to change is that the 3 desktops that we have now and printers in the library are going to be replaced with laptops. They're going to be checked out with either your driver's license or your Eagle Bend ID, and you're going to be responsible for those. But you can take them anywhere in the building and hook into the wireless, and be able to utilize them, maybe in the great room, wherever you want to go. The printers will be down in this area, and as you can see, we also have a seating area down there. There might be some books, but there will be another quiet area for working. As we come out of the door, first thing we see is that there is a snack bar out there. We're going to be able to sit down there and get some burgers and some dogs, have drinks, if we're around the pool area. And so we begin to have another area where we can have a social gathering down there. And we also have more seating capacity over here. So then we come into the swimming pool area itself. And down here are 2 more rinse showers. And then, when you come out, there's going to be a new gate at the pool, and there are going to be staircases that come up from the pool area. So no more do we need to come in the main lobby, dragging all of our floaty toys and all that kind of stuff, and go into the swimming pool. We can now access the swimming pool from outside and take these stairs to get there. Over to the side of the bocce court, we're going to enhance the area behind the bocce courts. And that's going to be an outdoor venue for weddings and those kinds of things. And here's the benefit to us for that, is that no more, when we have a wedding, which right now, for those of you that don't know, are conducted out here around this fire pit, we have to close the pool, and then we don't have access to it. Now we'll have the access, and we'll be able to have the wedding venues and the revenue events out there. So, let's go back upstairs. So when we come up the stairs, we come into the Eagle's Nest. And the Eagle's Nest is, the first thing that you're going to see is that the fire pit is gone. And that gains us, I forget, I think it's, 80 square feet or something like that. It gains us a table, is what it gets us. Over along this side of the wall, we're going to have what are called banquettes or booth type of things. This over here is all going to be seating. We're going to have a circular booth over here. And then back in this corner, which I haven't lived here that long, but that's now going to be reverted back into what it used to be, and that's a snack window. We're coming in on the turn, we'll be able to get a drink, a dog, a hamburger, whatever, at that snack window without needing to come into the Eagle's Nest. We're coming right in here, get our snacks, we're back out on the course. Then when we come down here, this is currently the Shibano room. That will now be the primary bar area. It will begin to create a separation between the diners and the drinkers. It won't be perfect. There will be some people that are in the bar that end up sitting here. There'll be some people in the bar that end up sitting here and so forth. But we begin to have that separation. On this wall right over here, in the Shibano room, that's going to be a window wall, just like it is on the great room out there, to flood that sunlight in. There's already currently a door there, but we're again going to have a glass door in that glass wall so that we can go out on the patio. We're going to do work out here with the pergolas and hopefully get the same kind of product that we got on the bocce courts. If you haven't seen those pergolas on the bocce court, take a look at them. They're pretty fancy and pretty functional, pretty fantastic. One of the things that we have on the patio now is that fireplace. The problem with the fireplace is it's about this big, and the opening is about this big, and yet it blocks the view all the way up to the top. So we're going to take out that fireplace and replace it with a fire pit, so that we'll have an unobstructed view on that patio, and we're really going to try to encourage with some additional heating, etc., to get a lot of activity, more activity on the patio. And don't forget the fact that this is now, that patio is connected to the one off of the great room. So, the last thing on the list, and it really doesn't show much in it, but in here in the room that we're currently in is the Antero room. We're going to have new carpet. We're going to have new chairs. We're going to expand the dance floor to the doors and to the walls. If you were here last night, as several of us were, it's very easy to fill up this dance floor when you're dancing. So that's what's going to change in here. That being said, one or two of you might be saying, how much is that going to cost? And how are we going to pay for it? And for that, I'll bring up my straight man. You can use this mic.